Welcome everyone on behalf of Gujarat Ecology Society. I, Dr. Sonia Singh Thadani, welcome you all for today's first webinar of the year based for World Environment Education Day. And we have with us our eminent speaker, Ms. Alka Tomar. She will be taking us all together the role of communication, education, and the use of AI, of course, with the career guidance. And before taking more time, I would like to hand over the stage to our director, Dr. Jayendra Lakmapurkar, to officially welcome ma'am and start the webinar.
Yeah, Alkaji, as I know since I think last 10 years or more than that, she was very actively participating in various IUCN events. So I'll give her a brief introduction as a welcome note. Alka Tomar she's an experienced sustainability professional with over 2 decades of experience in various sectors like climate change, environmental education, communication, biodiversity conservation, nature resource management, and various developmental sectors related to environment and ecology. She is presently head of Center of Environment Communication and chairperson of Center for Youth that is very actively involved in various environmental related activity, where she leads impactful initiative focused on sustainability and youth engagement. She is an executive body member of IUCN, Indian National Committee, and a member of IUCN Climate Crisis Commission, which we call it as CCC, and Commission on Education and Communication. In addition to serving, she is governing boards of several organizations. Alkaji holds academic qualification in environmental science and professional certifications in sustainable business strategy from Harvard Business School, online and strategic CSR from Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. She is a lead uh, India Fellow and alumnus of US Department of State International Visitors Leadership Program, we call IVLP, on climate change and clean energy. And she is a coherent climate reality leaders. Her career reflects a sustained commitment to advancing sustainability through education, collaboration, and policy relevant action at the national and global level. Moreover, she's a gentleman person, very cooperative. She's one would like to have her company because of good what I would call good vibration she carries, always positive vibration. So I welcome Alkaji, and I hope we'll have a very educational presentation from your side, and we'll learn quite a lot of things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think this is great, kind words. And, when I was hearing about myself from you, Jayendraji, I was like feeling, oh my God, age is really catching up now. And good and glad that you people are doing this session, because I think it's a time now for all of us to pass on the knowledge and experience to the new generation. And this session is exactly what we are talking about. So thank you very much for having me today here. And I'm glad that in last, I think 25, 30 years, it has been a journey. And today, being the Environmental Education Day, I started my career after doing my environmental sciences into environmental education. I was in Ahmedabad with CEE, Center for Environment Education, for 1 year. So Ahmedabad, I had a lot of amras there, and plus traveled around Gujarat, learned a lot of things around it. But environmental education has been the core of my experience and my journey, which started in 1997 when we have undergone a TE, training in environmental education, from CE, and then joined the Delhi office. So yes, environmental education, but over the years, what we, at least my experience has been, that we need to go beyond education now, and we need to communicate, and better communicate, more positively and more, clearly. And because we are living in a very different generation where information is overwhelming, and when we have such overwhelming information, we don't know how and what the clutter and where the clutter need to be looked into and cleaned. And that's the reason this particular topic today And thank you, Sonia, for reaching out to me for this particular 2026 first session, this webinar. And I was, though I'll not say that I worked quite a lot on new age technology and plus AI, but our organization is very strategically working on this mission, and you will see a lot of work around it in months to come. And that's the reason I choose this particular topic, because I think you will get, as participants, as students, you'll get enough material on what climate change is, what biodiversity is, what is happening. I don't have to really tell you now in today's era. Maybe we need to simplify it more. That is the only thing. But if I'm going to my session and my presentation, I'm going to talk to you about how we are going to package it with the critical, tropical, and contemporary environmental issues. Packaging is what I'll say. I know I'm talking about more salesperson and marketing person, but having learned so much, whatever I could learn in so many years, how do you really talk about the issues, to whom you talk about the issues, as is becoming very, very critical. And because it's really daily changing, the scenarios and the narratives of the information around it. So, and before I go about doing that, and there's a presentation obviously, and you can ask your questions end of the presentation, and you can put in chat, though I may not be able to look at the chat right now, but I will answer all of it. So whatever is coming to your mind, you can just put it in the chat. But in the meanwhile, all participants, can you just introduce yourself? Put your information here in the chat. Just say hello from where you are and what you're doing, and maybe just a word. What do you want to do? Just start typing it out. So let's just try to connect that by end of the session, because I'm going to talk about what I feel is important, and then let's just see what you feel important. We can touch upon that also. Is it okay, Sonia?
Absolutely okay, ma'am. It's a really good start for the year, and for as a speaker also good, quite ice breaking. So as ma'am has instructed, please introduce yourself and from where you are and what you are expecting. We have already shared that thing with ma'am,
Yeah.
but still.
I just want to know more. Just don't say, very this one in mundane manner. Just simply say, maybe in a fun manner, in a very different Gen Z manner. What is that you are looking at in terms of your future? Not from my side, but from what is your future plan? So from that point, if you just type it out simply, we just get to know. So here, let me talk about the presentation here. If you can see my slide, first slide is on, right? Yeah, can you see the first slide?
We can see, ma'am, and in the chat, we have Miss Prachi Singh, and she's assistant professor in Mewar University and Tech Environment Science, and she's from Rajasthan.
One sec.
Hema, we have Hema from Tamil Nadu, and she's pursuing bachelor's degree in zoology, want to be a wildlife biologist.
Very good. Yeah, very nice. Yes, this is interesting. I keep on putting in this information is very, very good. So let me start with what I feel you should know, and then let's just talk about what else you want to know beyond what I'm presenting. So I'm going to start with the presentation. So the topic here is, what we're talking about is how do we communicate ecology, and if we marry ecology with the digital age, how do we be more effective in terms of skill, tools, and pathway, and especially for young professionals like you. And so I'm just shifting to the next slide, because I want to be sure that you are on the next slide here. So just a bit about our organization. So we have been here from last 10 years. So we are a new organization that way, and our organization Center for Youth is also from last 10 years active. We have been working on through our thematic centers: Biodiversity Communication Center, Climate Change Center, Water Sanitation, Green Films, and Corporate Engagement. So whatever the best part is, whatever we feel, okay, this is the focus, depending on what is the priority, global priorities, we align ourselves. We, as an organization, would be also starting cohorts, fellowship cohorts for international fellowship, where we want youth to get exposure in terms of participation and engagement at international forums. So we will be floating that information also, so that you understand and align yourself with what is happening around the world, because this is right now environment is beyond it's not endemic, it is very, very global, and we all need to be part of that global moment. So here the main important part is why we are talking about communicating ecology, because I think most of you, as I can see from the chat, is primarily is already either planning to take this subject or already part of the subject. You're teaching that subject. But what I'm going to talk about is we need to go, subject knowledge is very good, but then the more important part is that knowledge alone is not creating change. The impact and change, if we need to do, we need to create good and impactful narratives. And now, as professionals, you need to be well informed, you need to influence, you need to engage, you need to inspire, you need to inspire action. And then and you cannot work in silos, because environment is something, is not a subject that it is more cybersecurity, it's more technology, and it is also need to engage people, need to bring a lot of stakeholders on board. And that's the reason the shift, and I can say about the shift is because from when we started our career, we were talking about need to learn, and we were just disseminating information. It was more or less a one-way approach, but we need to also look at a two-way approach more broadly and as well as impactfully, and then action-oriented communication is the key thing that we all need to understand it. I'm shifting to the next slide, where I'm going to talk about that what is that end of the day you might understand and gain. And I'm also sharing some of the case studies as part of what we have seen has worked. So we're going to cover, and there are not many slides. If you say, "My God, I'm going to cover a lot," but we try to combine few things here. So communication as part of your green skill, where you are talking about your subject, communication also has to be part of your core skill. And then yes, using data visual tools, open data, AI is now very career oriented, important. It's not about that only technology need to use AI, we need to be using AI very strategically and importantly. And as environmentalists, we all, I think, need to communicate effectively wider and do really, really go out. And now another thing is, if you have noticed as young professionals, in all the major global forums, youth-led or youth getting seat on the table, and they are part of the negotiations or discussions, or the visions and plans or policies are around youth, either youth led or youth centered. So this is becoming very, very important, and that's the reason I said that we also would like to get into that area. And and because it's environmental issues, so ethics, equity, and how do we make the impact measurable if you are in the sector and geosector especially. So this, let's talk about it. And so yes, if you are smart, if you are using Gen Z tools, you are definitely have a career which is much more promising than the routine ones. When we're talking about only you do PhD or focus on academics. In academics also, if you are there, but you need to really, really be creative. And yeah, so audience, your early career professionals are there. And then, so the next slide I'm talking about is the first one, the communication is a core green skill. So what we had was earlier when we all were there that you do good work, and there were two set of people that were there. Was somebody who was doing work in terms of technical information, and somebody else was communicating. So they were communication professionals separately. research and technical scientists separately. So now this is what roll into one has to be there. So professionals, research, technical expertise, communication, and engagement is something comes as part of the package, and that's the reason that packaging is very, very important. So translating what we are saying, science, into policy relevant and people public friendly narrative is essential. If you remember, when we started about climate change, then there were a set of people who were saying that climate change is not happening. And then that set of people, from there to now, we're talking about, yes, climate is there. We're talking about 1.5 degree, 2 degree temperature. So that journey was quite, daunting and quite time taking. So I'm saying, as professional, now it is responsibility of the technical expert to also look at how effectively we engage. One of the example, I think, of the engagement, if you have reading a recent report by Yale climate change communication team, and how they have really, captured, how Americans are thinking, though they're not part of the climate change deal now, but how Americans are thinking in terms of what is influencing them, what is the driving factor, what are the action points. Those are something science translating into policy relevant, public friendly narrative is something that you need, maybe can look into it. So when we are talking about policy decision, because some of you will go into policy planning and policy driven decision will be taken, but how clear you are in terms of what data is there, how do you interpret the data, and it is the core of policy decision also. And when we're talking about organizations, we're talking about funders or institutions who is supporting your research or maybe supporting your projects, they also need visibility and impact. So that's the reason communication is doing implementation, but engaging in communication becomes very, very important. So, and it is not a separate skill that you need to imbibe. If you need to integrate within whatever systems and you need to internalize it. I'm sharing now in the next slide another one case study. It's a global case study of UNDP. There's a climate promise program. And there's a link given here in this slide. I hope you all can see this slide. I'll just check with my colleagues. And the slide is visible right in your screen. Yeah, perfect. So this particular initiative is a multi-country initiative where climate commitments are there, and each country is reporting how national determined contribution NDCs. And so this particular initiative is where citizens, this digital tools, infographics, and citizens facing platform is created, where these NDCs are presented in, a manner where you can understand it, and interpretation is better. So this is, so there are people, I'm not saying it's a technology thing, but it's more about how you are talking about communicating. So visual explainers are there instead of long policy documents now, and making climate commitments understandable to public is important, and how national policy are linked to local actions. So digital dashboards tracking progress, simple language is there, and it supports governance and accountability, and it demonstrate career beyond research, career beyond fieldwork. So this is one set of, it's see it from the career point of view also. So you join as a data visualizer, environmental data visualizer, and there's a slide we're talking about what kind of different professions are there. But something like this is one initiative which is, it requires constant engagement, constant understanding, constant interpretation of the information. So policy brief, how do you really engage? What is that you want to talk about? Yeah. Can you somebody need to, Sonia, we need to close the audio somewhere. Yeah.
Just give me a minute, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, there is somebody here.
That
Sonia,
can you hear
unmute
me, ma'am?
madam. Sonia, unmute the madam. Just a minute.
Wait. Ma'am, you need to unmute from your end. We cannot unmute you.
Okay, is it okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
perfect. Okay, so yeah, one sec. I'm here on the slide. Yes. So what we are talking about is now what are employers looking at? I'm talking about employers, international organizations, research-based organizations. I'm talking about them. So they're looking at what kind of core competencies you bring on table beyond your degree is what you need to understand. So if you say that I know data visualization, how to use Canva, I know how to use AI better, then there are more chances that you will be engaged in high profile projects. You will be engaged and you will have career advantage altogether. So writing policy. So a research project that you might take up can become a policy note or an infographic or LinkedIn post or video. So there are a lot of multi-layer aspects now involved into, and plus the jobs that are right now in are not about you doing one thing straightforward altogether. You need to really, really be a communicator in terms of how do you really make impact. So this is what employers are looking at. Now, if you talk about AI, open data, visual tools as career essentials, what are we talking about? That we, I'll just take a minute, and as most of you must have heard about, I'll not name the person, he's very prominent environmentalist in the sector. And I asked him, I met him in Delhi and asked him, now, if you need to do something differently in environmental education space, what you will do now? He said, I'll use AI and very substantially, I'll use YouTube videos in more in communicating about environmental education. I think if after spending almost 40 to 50 years into environmental education, somebody is talking about that, I think this is the way forward for all of us also. And so contemporary tool, obviously, we need to understand that we know majorly people use AI, but I think a deep research and using that is very, very important. Second, I think is nowadays very nicely picking up, and you need to also maybe can build this knowledge and skill is on GIS maps and interactive dashboards, how to handle large data. Let's say you're part of UNF Triple C, where you need to be, putting all countries' climate commitment, tracking them, and all that has to be done. So it means if you have that edge in terms of this the short-term certificate courses, understanding data sets, representing data sets, creating a lot of collaterals around it, visual trends. So that will, I think, will make a lot of difference. And that's the reason, like tools like Canva, tools like other, similar tools, if that can be used prominently and used in a manner that is, it's going to smartly save time also. Those are important things. Yeah. So there's another case study that we have from UNEP, and United Nations Environment Program. They have a world environment situation. For example, if we need to, let's say you start, maybe one of you might think that I'll have a startup where I want to tell, kind of churn out this environmental news across the world, important ones, and then use digital platform or AI, and then create a maybe a news channel where I flash and I, kind of work on them and tell the world what is the priority global world today, what is happening in world, on environment. So something like that, this situation room is talking about. They're talking about real-time environmental data indicators. They're using satellite imageries, and interactive tools and visual stories are there. And if you can just Google this, you will find UNEP World Environment Situation Room. And because nowadays, and this data is very, very useful in case you want to use, and the government are using it, journalists are using it, environmental outlook, UNEP reports are, there are a lot of reports that UNEP is bringing out, and this data is really, really helping us. When we really look at their reports and say, look how in-depth those reports are, how good their reports are, but then how much this digital platform, they are using it now, from the printed one to the digital platform now, are becoming talk of the town. So this is another. So this particular initiative is also coming out from the point that how do we engage journalists, how do we engage government, how do we engage researchers and students. And then another important thing is that another second aspect. So I think when we're saying communication is a core environmental skill now, so I think the slides that I presented earlier, it just trying to talk about that. When we say use AI or use other digital tools, it's not two, three examples that I'm showing you, UNDP or UNEP and other organizations, how they're using large data and creating smaller policy brief. Because if you need to do quickly some research, those information is available. So if you are able to do some certifications and courses around that, I think that'll be really, really useful. And try to do a combination of tools. So if you have GIS, if you have AI, or if you use design also in them, I think what you can create is really, really good and useful in terms of international organizations also. So in terms of this particular slide, we're talking about youth-led, trust-based and inclusive engagement. It's a heavy word, but this is, if I think I've been tracking climate change COP from quite some time. And as professional, we all are part of other international forums, CBD forum on biodiversity, desertification and others. Youth role in the entire programming, entire it's not about, they are not trophy stakeholders now, they are more real stakeholders now. And when we're talking about real stakeholders, so it means there is one, there are two aspects to it. One is you as recipient of information, there will be dedicated information packages, collaterals available to you now. It's youth centered around. And there are, second is youth led initiatives also there, and youth centered information is also around. So now the things have changed. I remember I was in Doha for climate change COP. It was a long time back. I hardly used to see a youth sessions, very limited ones. But now there are youth ambassadors. We're talking about special sessions there. They have pavilions there. So the point is, how do you, because you are youth and as well as you are a communicator, environmentalist, you need to convert this into a merit for you as part of your career. You need to see any COP is happening, whether it is on biodiversity or climate change or any COP, you see where what has happened and what is why my role could be. Try to be part of it. Try to, if you're not able to go there, you just follow the news and see what is happening and start engaging with the people who are there. I think you will see there are a lot of, sitting here, I can't really kind of visualize for you, but we all met recently in IUCN World Congress in Abu Dhabi in October, and seeing youth part of the forums, part of the negotiations, part of the discussions, part of the motions voting, it's really good now. I think there are lot of opportunities as young professionals. So the point is that how do you really make it more engagement based and career oriented for you people? And I think the point here is from the digital tool point of view, that point what is changing now. Institutions now are focusing on one, how do I get youth as employee, but as well as fellow or digital creators, because you, I think as that is very important and one of the USP you people have. And second is the young professionals, they act as, they know, trusted digital intermediaries are there between science and society. So those are very important thing. And I'm now showing you next slide, talking about another case study. It's about Global South. Global South we're talking about. So there are two set of examples here. One is of UNESCO, where youth are, and if you see, if you browse, there are a lot of scholarships, fellowships, and internships for youth now in comparison to previous years. And especially if you are, I'm not gender biased, but for girls, there are a lot more other opportunities also now. So this particular initiative is basically how youth is involved in doing research and working with the indigenous voices and bringing them into the global conversations. And so youth are used, not youth are engaged in how they are using, documenting that local knowledge, ecological knowledge, and how ethics and the inclusion means the indigenous people, are the center of the communication, and how youth is doing that. This is very beautiful example, very scaled up. If you Google, you will find that. Second is UNICEF also has a climate voice and youth digital program, and where again, in fact, there's another example I should have mentioned, is a World Bank initiative on climate change, a big one. They have a very big YouTube channel, very inspiring. I get a lot of inspiration from that, and so I can share that with Sonia. But that's another initiative which is completely driven by youth, and they are not environmentalists. They are youth who are interested in environmental issues. So I think as youth, you are environmentalists, you are taking this subject, I think you have an edge. Let's follow that edge and heart both. And here, I think the most important part is because the emotional connect and trust we can build better, and community rooted storytelling and authentic voices, and if we bring it together, so the followers obviously count, and credibility and authenticity in terms of communication matters. So gain that grassroots experience as much as you can, and then but do not gain and keep it to yourself. How do you really communicate? You can have your own YouTube channels separately also. You can be influencers of environment if you really use right information in right way, and especially in digital, being digitally mindful also. Then we're talking about the next one is about the ethics, equity, and measurable impact. And why it is important, I think this is one of the very important aspects, at least for me, because in this, when I said in the beginning that we are talking about information overwhelming, we have misinformation, we have deepfakes, we are talking about greenwashing, and when we have so much of it, it's really create public distrust and marginalized voices, because there's so much information overwhelming is there that often get excluded, especially when we're talking about climate migrants, we're talking about other set of faces, the challenges because of deforestation, because of other environmental challenges people are facing. So that is where ethics is very important. What information you're presenting, it is correct, not correct, and it is not misinformation, because obviously it can go viral in any point of time. So that is what we need to be in our enthusiasm in terms of creating what I'm talking about, visual representation, creating infographics, and presenting and packaging information. This is few points we need to always keep on reminding ourselves. Is it right information? Is it non-greenwashing in terms of just to please some people? And plus, are we inclusive in our approach? Whether it is gender, whether it is indigenous community, talking about north-south divide. So whatever the divisions and whatever disparities are there, are we looking at that in terms of our communication? What narrative we are floating in the community? Then so that's the reason I think, as environmentalist, when we are crossing the boundary and want to be communicator also, so when we need to look at our accuracy and evidence based and transparent, and as well as the local knowledge, if we are documenting, acknowledging people, we have understood and read that in research that we need to cite each and every paper. We need to be acknowledging who has provided you data. So those are, I think, the ethical part of it in terms of ethics, in terms of equity, the stakeholders engagement, and stakeholder engagement is one part. Acknowledging those stakeholders also another part. Let's say when we do some research, we all know we get this document signed consent that your data, your name will not be given. And then at least, and then after some time, the data information, names, if they go in public, then this is where the trust is broken. This is where, and when you will get into, especially on terms of green communication or environmental communication, this becomes very, very important. If you've gone to field and you have said that, okay, I'm collecting information, but your name will not come anywhere. But then tomorrow his or her name is there everywhere. This is where we need to be really be careful. Third aspect is about impact. So when we are looking at our careers, we need to look at, and behavior change is a big word. I think is a big word. It's behavior change is, it doesn't happen overnight, obviously. It is a very constant effort from behavior change communication people. And but if we have done our baselines right, say what exactly the current behaviors are, knowledge, attitude, and practice, and now what has changed. So that behavior change, it's when we doing any communication, can we right from the beginning plan to map those behavior change. So then that can say, okay, this was the impact. Our community earlier were involved in, let's say we are talking about some community who were involved in using I'll not use those kind of examples, but majorly destroying or impacting environment in harmful manner. So now from that, how you really change from hunter, are they becoming conservationist? So that is what we need to document it properly. Then, and were be able to engage and communicate the do a policy engagement properly on the matter. We can be part of the policy, or we can be part of engaging the policy makers. And then community actions. So yes, from the likes and views, we need to go beyond in terms of how the action has impacted the community. So what we're talking about is that not misleading, not exploiting, not breaking news. I think we need to go beyond as environmental communicators, that are we ethically correct in terms of spreading this information? Is it inclusive? And it is impacting. So there's another case study I'm presenting. I thought if, apart from telling you what you might also know, in addition, look at those examples that World Resource Institute, WRI, NASA, we know, Google Earth. So they have created it. Global Forest Watch is a visual data representation, and more and more organizations are now working towards how do we present the data better? How can we access the data better? I remember I was part of another project with the TNC, and they had a similar exercise, or a bit, one more exercise. We're talking about climate hotspots they were mapping. And so here, what this particular initiative is tracking the deforestation in the real time using satellite data, maps, and open public access platform, digital platform. So this is fascinating. So it was all. It's not that something environmental issues or forest or deforestation issues are limited to the subject experts. Now, as policymaker, I can use this data, but as environmental communicator plus environmentalist, you can actually be part of such initiatives. So this is where the change is really impactful and visible. So this particular project is used by all these government, NGOs, students, journalists. It's combining science, it's transparency because it's public access, it's open access, it's data, it's empowering accountability because if you can track deforestation in real time, so it is accountability at different stakeholders level. Then, and the transparency is there to is building trust, and because it's open, claims can be verified, evidences can be checked, and so communities or journalists or advocacy organizations can hold institutions responsible. So I think something like this, which is so powerful in terms of all the check boxes, if you see in terms of how do we take data and how do we use the data to make global impact on environment, is something important. So this is ethical data communication. It's empowering. So it's not like it's with the experts only. Now, as empowered citizen, I can see what is happening in my vicinity, what's happening to my forest. And so it is open data, visual tools, and empowering citizens and decision makers. And the skills, if you can see, it is GIS, remote sensing, interpretation, and visual storytelling. So the point is now the skills, how do you really harness it? How do you really learn it? And how do you really put it in practice? Is what is the next generation learning is. I'm moving to the next slide as another example here. And we're talking about the regional and grassroots perspectives. So there's an example along with Africa, where there's a mobile platform for farm. And there are some of these examples that I'm presenting, and there's so many of it now. And these are innovation, these are startups, some of them are. And so there's a mobile platform for farmers, and it's linked to a livelihood in terms of where what is happening in terms of weather information, what is, and they can connect to the world. And it's livelihood resilience, talking about and reducing climate risk. The data is used for this purpose, and it's improving everybody's decision making in terms of what kind of cropping pattern is there, what kind of weather systems are in place. So all that information is part of it, and it is user centered, and local communication is used in here, local language. So from global, using these tools and skills for local and regional is also equally important. And so it's not like that until as you're part of the larger systems, only then the skills are required. Wherever you are, and you can actually learn and apply those skills. So having said three aspects where we're talking about, the first one was on the communication as a core skill. Then we're talking about youth centric, and third we were talking about the ethics part of it, ethics, equity, and engagement part of it. Now, what is it we're talking about? So which communication used to be uh, a separate domain, separate expertise, but now it's opening door for environmentalists also, for to understand the environment, biodiversity, ecology better, and using these tools. So at undergrad level, at postgrad level, there are environmental communication officers, knowledge officers, and science communication specialists. And here in different places, these positions are available. If you Google, you will find that. Then we have, second is climate, ESG, environment, social and governance. and sustainability reporting. And some of you might be taking this up, but ESG analyst and reporting associate and sustainability communication executive or CSR, corporate social responsibility, impact reporting officer are something very, very new age. In fact, big consulting firms have now positions on climate and ESG sustainability reporting. And these are not report per se from journalist point of view, basically from the corporate point of view. And it has investor linkages, linkages with ESG reporting. So these is very, very important domain, and especially with the corporate and CSR foundations and consulting firms, sustainability teams. So if you have, so it is beyond, I think, the conventional careers. These are all, new age careers that we need to see if we need to have that, but we need to have appropriate skills accordingly. Then we're talking about digital advocacy campaigns. Obviously we have digital climate campaign leads. We're talking about advocacy officers, social media strategists, especially on sustainability, climate, and especially in UN organizations, or be part of big movements. I think this number 3 is very, very relevant now. And fourth one, which I was talking about through a few examples, we're talking about data visualization and knowledge platform, and which is now has picked up and has proved really beneficial. And talking about environmental data communicator, GIS and visual story associate, knowledge management officer. So if you Google and see, especially you go to LinkedIn and see what are the jobs that are there, see something like this now people are also looking at. So think tanks on data visuals and data platforms and development organization UN, they look at. Yes, media, education, content creations. Yes, there have been there environment journalists, climate educators, sustainability educators. And so a combination, I think, yeah. So this is the kind of jobs which are also becoming demand driven, and but you need to have right skill if you say that I'm interested in something like this. So I'm just moving to the last slide here. We are talking about key takeaways, and we're saying that communication is not, it is not extra, it is not something somebody else is doing and this is not my job. This is all part of the package now. And understanding AI and data literacy is improve employability. Youth voices now carry huge credibility, and if you want to be engaged in different platforms, this is one big opportunity. And as environmentalist, I really urge you people to be part of all that international forums where youth voices are really, really essential. And but ethics and impact, it defines professionalism. So if you're not ethical, and if you just want to ignore the important aspect that really defines you, then I think that is going to be a problem in long term. So the checklist is, you need to build your digital platform portfolio, maybe through different social medias. You need to learn new tools. You need to see what is happening, and examples like this that I've shown you, the WRI and Google and NASA one. And there's so many examples, I think, so many. In fact, there's a desertification report, which is there. If you have seen forest survey report, there's so many reports that are there that you see and you say, my God, so much data. And this interpretation of data is a huge thing. And engagement of youth in professional network is very important. So my takeaway, if you see from when I started my career in 90s, late 90s to now, I think it's, I'll say, it's a golden time for environmentalist. One is, you don't have to really justify your career now. Otherwise, earlier, when we have taken our subject, we used to say, what are you going to do here? What is that there for you? From there, when you say you are doing this thing, wow, you are into this. So we have changed, and we have all worked towards it. Not, I'm saying we have all environmentalists of that age has worked towards it. And now it is how do we really, you as professional, use it is very, very important. So one is you need to keep yourself informed, and plus be very dynamic in terms of your learning. You need to be very organic in your learning, and you need to be very active in different forums, and then engage with different professionals. And these are the few mantras which will take you forward, and you can be happy with what you're doing, and you can be happy with, be flow with what is happening around, be be with the flow of the current. So this is what I wanted to talk about. So thank you very much, and I can take questions. I hope I was not going very fast. So yeah, so this is what I wanted to talk about, that this is important, that how do we really use what we have. And today I think we are very fortunate with the kind of digital avenues and information avenues we have. And it's not like that you might be sitting in one corner and say, oh my god, what is happening, I don't know where what is happening. But I think, if let's say I'm looking at Ankita here, and she's saying she's from West Bengal and doing botany third year, and if you ask me, most of the people here, we were going for a field work with one of the very important organization, and most of the people there had no knowledge about the kind of flora that was there. What's the scientific name, what is the local name, what is the English name. That's the kind of information that can be built right now, and we have Google Lens, and we are relying on that right now. But as subject expert, you can really build on this kind of information. Tree walks, we don't know what is happening in our neighborhood, what kind of trees they're talking about. Yeah, I think there are a lot more information around. Yes, I can see here Somajit Singh from Orissa talking about, yes, conservation biologist. And in fact, a few days back, I was there. We were just going somewhere in um, Madhya Pradesh, near Indore. And then there was one scuba diver, I think he was there, a very young chap, 18 plus. And he was taking tourists for that. And I said, you know, you can be a marine biologist. And so something like that, the kind of career. And yes, I think that clicked very well with him. And so those are the kind of avenues we're talking about here now. Yeah. So yes, I can take questions and I can stop sharing. Yeah. Yes, Sonia. So I hope I've covered what we were wanted to talk about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for such a knowledgeable presentation, from taking us from your journey to the journey forward. It was whole circle. You talked not only about the career pathways which are available, but you also highlighted the skills which are required to take those careers, which is very very important. I guess that filled the knowledge gap. May it be evidence based management, science communication, participatory communication, data interpretation, social media strategy, and of course the role of ethics. Actually, grounding. That was the slide of ethics was actually grounding in the all which is going on in this world. So I won't take much time, ma'am. There is already so much of appreciation pouring for you into the chat. And apart from that, there are also the questions which are pouring into the chat. So
I'm
I
just browsing it, Sonia. Thank you very much. I'm just browsing it. Like so much of it, but I think we can give forum to few to talk, and then maybe we can. In the meanwhile, I can just browse the chat also.
Yeah, sure. So I open the forum for anybody to ask the direct questions to ma'am. Meanwhile, we are going to the chat. So you can raise Devendra. Devendra has raised the hand. Devendra, you can unmute yourself and please. And after Devendra, Shreya, please you may. So please unmute yourself and ask the question directly. Devanand, are you there? Are you there? Can you listen to us? You raise your hand. Okay. By the time Devanand will go, I mean unmute. Shreya, you can please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, hello. Thank you, ma'am. Can you hear me? Am I
Yes, we
audible?
can. We can hear. You are audible.
Okay,
You are audible.
okay, okay. Okay, thank you, Alka ma'am. Thank you for this so insightful session. And I would just like to briefly tell that I have been working into higher education communication for 7, 8 years, and recently I've taken a break for 3 to 4 months, and I'm exploring some of my own personal projects because I personally have a lot of interest in wildlife conservation. I did some short course from Wildlife Institute of India also. And during my personal visits to tiger reserves and other forests, because of my this professional experience in communication, I started to make some narratives on the real ground stories on wildlife, environment, conservation, and started to put it on LinkedIn. And I'm actively using ma'am AI in that, and also using Canva in that. And recently, I have started to use some GIS map from forest reports. So whatever you were telling, I was so much getting connected. But now the question is that I have recently enrolled into environmental law policy from NLU WWF. This is a 1 year online course just to make a base for the future. Ma'am, I've been making all this content and everything, but I do not know how to get in through, like how to build bigger projects or how to get employable in this field now, because I'm not from this core education background of environmental education and all, but I'm too much interested in communicating and the media content creation and that part.
Yeah, so you're looking at now full-time employability into this sector,
Yes,
especially from the communication point of view. Yeah, Shrey?
yes,
So
ma'am.
that's
Yes,
what,
ma'am.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. That's the reason I was just saying that you look at, because you look at different, maybe we can connect later, and through maybe I can send some information to Sonia. Uh, there are platforms now, and if you look at them and enroll yourself, and especially the key organizations where you want to see that, okay, this is where I can be, I can get employment. You need to start also tagging them in your post. You need to make yourself visible. Do they know you exist? They won't know. And there, I think it is very important that how do you really make yourself seen. Especially, I don't know whether you attended any international programs. Were you part of any international sessions, COPs? Did you go there, or did you apply for any scholarships, fellowships? There's a lot of internships are part of it. Did you apply for any of it? So look at those of it right now. And employability also, there are actually, I can, when you're saying, a lot of organizations are coming to my mind right now, where you can actually send your portfolio, send your CV, and then start engaging with them. I'm sure if you are so much dedicated, and as you're saying, you're doing all right thing, you will really get, I think you are hot property right now in terms of environment.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I'll surely
Yeah,
connect. I'll connect to your
yeah,
email. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ami, Preeti, please unmute yourself and ask the question. After that, Ami Mori, you can go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Please, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, Preeti,
yeah.
Ma'am,
we can hear you. Yeah.
ma'am, my question is, whenever I'm trying to apply for some internships in field of ecology, it asks for field experience, and I have less exposure to this field of ecology. So, how to gather that experience?
So, where are you based, Preeti?
I'm currently studying in BHU for MSc Environmental Technology. So apart from my coursework, apart from the study tools, so how can I gather that experience?
So, as not part of your course, you are supposed to do internship if you're doing environmental engineering, you said, no? Yeah, Preeti, you're doing environmental engineering. Preeti?
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am.
So I'm just saying, as part of your course, you have a full-time 1 year of internship that is there.
Sorry, ma'am. I can't.
Okay. So I'm just saying, Preeti, if you can hear me properly, that as part of your course, anyway, you have 1 year or 6 months of internships that is available. And then if you are staying in BHU, and there are several organizations, especially non-government organizations around in BHU and around BHU, that you can actually start engaging with them. Maybe part of those initiative campaigns you can start taking. You can actually do campaigns yourself also nowadays. You can look at the kind of field experience that you're looking at, especially in field. You can pick up those initiatives yourself and start doing research and start posting it up, and so that you can build your portfolio around it. So there are several organizations. If you go to this one Niti Aayog portal and look at organizations who are in Banaras and who are working, and you can see who are working on environment. Start writing to them, go to their office, meet them, and look at working with them on different projects. And especially your technical expertise will be very, very helpful to them.
Okay,
If you
ma'am.
can hear me, if you can hear me correctly, look, you need to understand what is the kind of experience you are looking at, and who can provide me that experience. If it is corporate experience you're talking about, or talking about NGO experience, so then, or maybe a research experience, and accordingly find organizations around it and start slowly engaging with them. And you're right now studying, I think it's a good time to start building your portfolio. So as environmentalists, as architect, as designer, they build their portfolio as so we also now as environmentalists need to build our portfolio right from the beginning, and you are at right age to do so.
Okay,
And
ma'am.
LinkedIn, if you see, there are a lot of EHS professionals, environment, health and safety professionals in corporate level, in at the industry level, and they do so good work. Connect with them on LinkedIn also. Follow their work, implement something of your own startup project. In maybe you have innovation center in BHU, you do something in terms of innovative projects. In fact, there were some grants initially where youth were supposed to come up with startup ideas and implement that. So those were somewhere you need to start participating.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Preeti, and thank you, ma'am. Devanan, are you able to hear us? Because raise your hand. So, if you want to ask the question, please unmute yourself and ask. Okay, maybe he is not able to hear, or maybe not paying the attention. Okay, Ami Moi, do you want to ask any question because you raised your hand earlier, Ami?
Yes, ma'am. Am I hearable?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
So, ma'am, my question is also asked by Preeti that I wanna to part of internship, but मुझे हमेशा वो रहता है कि एक एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए. आपको कोई अच्छी इंटर्नशिप करनी हो तो वो एक्सपीरियंस मांगते हैं. बट वो एक्सपीरियंस के लिए आपके पास कोई हमारे पास सजेशन है, क्योंकि मैं गुजरात से हूँ. तो अगर आप ऐसी कोई मतलब इंटर्नशिप को जानते हैं या ऐसा कुछ है तो आप मुझे सजेस्ट करें.
आप क्या पढ़ रहे हैं?
मैं एमएससी जूलॉजी कर रही हूँ अभी.
ओके, एंड कहाँ पर बेस्ड हैं आप?
मैं अभी जूनागढ़ में हूँ, गुजरात जूनागढ़.
हाँ, अच्छा, सोनिया, आई थिंक स्पेशली इन गुजरात आपके कितनी सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं हु आर डूइंग सच वंडरफुल वर्क. आपने किस किस के साथ में अभी तक कुछ कम्युनिकेट किया, एंगेज किया है, उनके कुछ प्रोग्राम्स को अटेंड किया है? आप जानते हैं कि हाँ, गुजरात में कौन कौन सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस काम कर रही हैं इस सब्जेक्ट पे, किस किस तरह का काम हो रहा है?
Lot of organizations are there, ma'am, including ours. Like to Ami, GES also provide internship.
Absolutely, मैं यही बोल रही थी. आप गुजरात innovation for a lot of work. And आपने किन किस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ में आज तक कनेक्ट किया है? आपको मालूम है किस किस क्या क्या काम कर रहे हैं, कौन कौन सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, कहाँ पर बेस्ड है? आपने कभी उतना रिसर्च किया है? Amy? So I just want to actually, ये I think is very important. And especially हमारे careers में, देखिए हमारे time को मैं comparison कर रही हूँ, and I think we all will agree to that. Look, we first of all had no means of resources. हमारे पास resources were very limited. So हम लोगों के पास में उतना time और resources नहीं था, because we had to really jump into early earning में job करनी है, so help करना है family को. So we did not have that much of avenue कि अपनी capacity build कैसे करें, कहाँ connect करें. And slowly in my career also, I kept on building my knowledge, and there were different, if you see, there was some or other fellowship, some or other scholarship, is always some other course. For example, in COVID, I have done a 9-month course on corporate social responsibility from ICSR, then Harvard course on corporate sustainability, this one sustainability, CSR course, then a lead fellowship, then this and that. I kept on doing it, because actually I always had that I did not work on it when I was doing my studies. And that's what I'm suggesting, that all of you who are building your career, who are starting your career, see that if a lot of people have written that they want to do this, they want to do this, and this is where they want to reach. And I'm very happy that they are very clear on that. Their very aspirations are very clear. But wherever you are, something like that, you need to build and start working and engaging with those organizations. And that experience will not come once you finish your BTech, you finish your MSc or BSc. It has to be a parallel work. I know we support a lot of youth, and we have seen them that they started working on a lot of things parallelly. Now there are so many organizations. I don't know in your college an actress is there or not. They help you out in looking at community projects. Then they have innovation centers, Atal innovation centers are there. Especially in BHU, you have those opportunities. I think the opportunities are immense. You need to really be just saying that I am looking for internship and I'm not. Have you been part of Internshala platform? And how many internships you have applied, how many fellowships you have applied, and how many you did not get? So let's look at, on my browser, I was wanted to actually apply for another fellowship, and then I said I'm looking at, and I'm getting so many notifications, but they're all for young people. So I am now part of this age. I've passed part of that age limit, has gone, but there are so many of it. Just keep on applying, doesn't matter, 10 you will apply, only one you will get. It's really, you can just use AI to make your applications, at least you will get to know. And some of them are just you engage. Are you aware that climate reality has a climate change COP fellowship? So there is a fellowship like this. And then Wildlife Institute of India had a hackathon on human wildlife conflict. So if you look for it, they're also looking for right people. You're also looking for right organization. But have you been able to reach out in terms of, have you have a LinkedIn page? Have you tagged them? Have you posted something? Have you connected with the organizations around you? And at least be volunteering. Just leave aside internship, start volunteering with them. They will get to know you, and there will be opportunities for things. It's very easy. Maybe I'm sounding very. It's actually very easy nowadays.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving the right direction. Actually, that the steps which are required is very important. Like, we always see the larger picture, but what are the baby steps involved? So, thank you for giving those golden nuggets of taking the small steps. Now we have Devanand. Please ask your question. Devanand, can you hear us? Because you raise your hand again. So if you are able to hear us, please ask the question. If you don't want to unmute, please put it into the chat box.
Yeah.
So anybody, Yeah. So anybody who is not able to unmute, you can put the questions itself into the chat box.
I just, yeah, I think I'll take the conversation, Sonia, forward. Look, when I'm presenting those examples in the presentation, the UNDP and whatever initiatives they're taking, if you are interested in this subject and if you want to be aspired to be what you want to be, if you make a list of all those potential organizations who are working very nicely on this subject and start following it up, go to their website at least once in a month and see what kind of projects are happening, what kind of work that is happening, and maybe put a post around it, maybe take a clue from there, maybe try to implement something of a smaller or a micro level at your end. Then you start building your portfolio. The point is we need to build our portfolio. Are we building it or not is what very, very important. And building portfolio is a package deal, as I said in the beginning. What you're creating socially, what you are doing on ground, and what are you actually doing in terms of your scholarships, fellowships, internships, and the volunteering community work. So it's a combination of things. And innovations, nowadays everybody looks at innovations, maybe some innovative idea you think of and just implement it all together. And if you are into environmental engineer, they try to see. I remember, yeah, there's so many examples altogether. We had a project. It was Eco Grant, and where we had supported youth groups, and it was a competition, and we invited entries in terms of that you present your innovative idea, and we will support with a fund of 5 lakh rupees each group. And then we got 200 plus entries and we shortlisted to 10, and the ideas were equally good everywhere. And there are such initiatives available. And some of the students, and they were students only, have created very, very successful business. And this 5 lakh rupees of seed money was the first to buy some machine, experiment something. So there were one business, a marble slurry and plastic waste they used to make bricks. And now it's a successful business altogether. Also something like that. I think there are initiatives and interest, all that is available now. You need to mix it all together and create better bricks. Yeah. So this is what I think. End of the day, these are all opportunities, all available, and can be taken up. You just Google, everything is available on website, YouTube, social media. I think apart from what you do with your social media, this is also equally important if you want to really be early starter in your career. So just want to say that, and thank you very much. Yeah, there's a question. I think Devanand is now putting it. He's saying that I did my bachelor in climate change and environmental sciences, planning MSc from Germany. Extremely passionate. I want to take part in conservation aspect. What should I do with the perspective of a career? So he's already picking up a career with climate change and environmental sciences, and you're going to Germany. I think. What are you looking at? You want to be a climate scientist? You're looking at academics. Devanand, depends on what career plan you are looking at. You want to get into research. So if you can just be more specific, then again, I think I only tell you that please engage with the right organizations. Identify right organization in your career plan and start engaging with them. Write to them that I want to be part of the project. Nowadays we have online facility available, so engagement can not be in person, it can be online, a mix of it can be tried. So if it is climate change, I suggest that we follow all the climate change COPs, be part of all the youth engagement, LCOE, regional COEs that are happening, and youth ambassadors, all that. I think it all depends on what is it you want to do. So yes, definitely climate change COPs need to be followed if you want to be a climate scientist. I hope you have answered the question here.
Thank you, ma'am. And yeah, Devanand, I'm sure you got the answer. Okay, we have another question in the chat box from Hema.
So she's asking a very, very specific question.
Is this was
So she's saying that, ma'am, I want to study PG on WII, from Wildlife Institute of India, I think, and I'm studying for the entrance exam, but I don't know where to start and don't have any previous questions. I think that's very, very specific, I think, but Hema, I don't know where you're based, but you can connect with the students in Wildlife Institute of India and talk to them and understand if they have cleared this WI net, then they will know and they will help you out. So if you know somebody in campus, otherwise just maybe through LinkedIn, you can connect and talk to them.
yeah. And we have a question from Shreyoshi. Hello, ma'am. I'm doing MSc in Sustainability Science from ISER, Kolkata. If I want to do research on this field, what are the potential aspects of it? I want to do something in Antarctica. Is this possible?
I think when you're saying so, I'm not, I will say that it's not a career counseling session as such, but
it has become a
Your,
career counseling
your
session.
talk actually motivated so much that they will get all the answers today for our career.
but I'll just coming to my mind. There are few organizations. If you look at the DST project, Department of Science and Technology, and they have, I think, some research on this subject, and there are few top-notch research organizations. I cannot be, naming them, but you can actually see what kind of work is happening. I remember in one of the embassy also doing very good work on this issue. And again, I can name, I know the names, but I don't want to be very, very specific naming the organizations here. But I can just pass it on to Sonia. And Sonia, if you remember, you can ask me and I'll type it out and send it to you. You
Sure,
can
ma'am.
actually look at those projects and then take it on from there. Yeah, there are some of them who are doing good work around it. It's a good field. I think it's a very, very good field in terms of working. Very interesting one also. Just Shiroshi, I suggest then if you can just use AI and ask in India on this particular issue, and for everybody this is applicable. What is the kind of projects happening, and what is the organization? Who are the organizations who are working? And then dig out more from there and write to them and start connecting with them. So
Yeah. I to everyone, who are attending this is the if you ask, you giving you permission, taking your permission. If you ask me today's score, the Alka map message was very clear that you don't need any further resources. You have the tool, you have the AI with you, you have all the tools to answer all your queries, including which career to take, which courses to take, and where to head. So that's what the today's takeaway for me. That's what she was telling in her time, her generation, things so resources were not that easily available, but at today's things are really available on click. So all the confusion can be really clear once you ask, including with all the
yeah,
yeah.
yes, yes. So Sonia, the point I'm also, because the kind of question that are coming here, look, the main thing is that if in my BSc or BA, whatever subject I'm taking at undergrad level, I know in postgrad what I'm going to do. If that I'm very clear right from the beginning, I look at what is the kind of organizations who are working in this sector, what is the projects happening, and then I start engaging with them. And if I start engaging with them right now, engaging in social media, but also interacting with them in person, attending their programs, and observing, making your post, tagging them, then this is how you can start connecting with them, and you will you will be more informed, you will be more enriched, and please take up and write some take some fellowships around it, take some internships around it, and there are a lot of online internships at this point of time for youth available. And I'm not saying I have observed it. We are compiling it. We are going to start a cohort. So we know what kind of opportunities are available. With sum and substances, you need to be up with the technology. You need to be up with the tools right now. And you need to be very clear with your subjects. And environment is really huge subject right now. Each and every stream is itself one ocean in itself. So be more, you need to be more portfolio driven, and you need to build your portfolio better to be more to be more market oriented in terms of your employment. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Any
Thank you very
more
much.
further questions?
And thank you very much, Sonia, Jayendraji, for inviting me and Deepa. So I hope I have done justice to this session, and looking forward to more and more youth being part of this environment, initiative and career.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really the first webinar of this year. We started with this series last year, and we got really great response. And starting this year webinar with such information, it was really amazing for us and for the people who attended also. So really thank you on behalf of Gujarat Ecological Society and to everyone who joined us today. And ma'am has already shared her number and email. You can contact her, and you can also follow her on the LinkedIn as she has already conveyed to you. So with that, I would hand over to Jayendra sir for officially presenting the vote of thanks to ma'am.
Thank you very much, Sonia.
Thank you, Alkaji. It was very informative, particularly for the youths who want to go take environment as a career, whether it is climate change, ecology, and it was worth listening. Uh, you know, taking a career is very critical. A true career, depending on your likes, your what you want to visualize yourself where I want to be after 5 years, 10 years. Accordingly, you have to select the organization and work towards it. Uh, this is the era of information. So you have everything is available online. You have to just strike at the right button. I think AI would be very helpful in that case. That's what Alkaji told, and this is very critical. The one the examples which she showed as a data source, those are very important examples because this is an era of, as I say, it is an era of information, but it is also an era of misinformation. So you have to be very careful while selecting those information and applying it to your subject, to develop a proposal or researching. So I think it was a very good guidance from you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I wish we'll have some another session. May not be immediately, but it may be a like podcast where we can put question and answer. That would be
Wow.
very helpful.
So thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
And Jayendra Bhai, thank you very much for inviting me. And I enjoyed it equally. And so as an organization, we're talking about environment communication. And I think we also need to more. But youth and this particular, I think, is touched the right chord here. So thank you very much for inviting and for the
Thank
session.
you. And our nodal officer for the information is Dr. Sonia. So thank you, Dr. Sonia, for conducting these events very successfully. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for giving me the permission and the free hand to work upon all these things and bring on such amazing, speakers all over the world. This is our small effort to bridge the gap which ma'am was
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you very
Thank
much, participants, and looking forward to engage with you. I may not be able to answer to your all emails, but I'll try my best to respond. And but rely on AI more, and you will get it. And in case there are the confusions and all that, I'll try to support as much as I can. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's a small request to everyone. If you can switch on your camera for a group photograph, it will be, we'll be very happy. So I request everyone, please switch on your camera for a group photograph. We have 2 minutes left if it is okay. Otherwise, I have to take the screenshot of the current screen, which is visible on my screen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone. Yes, the webinar is officially over. You may please log out. And thank you for being such a wonderful audience, an active audience,
Yes.
the most important thing. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you. You may please leave the room.